again for the final segment of the Peace Wave, and the recording has now begun. So I will turn over the floor to the coordinator of our final segment of the Peace Wave for the next 2 hours, Lisa Clark, former IPB co-president and an all-around great peace activist with many, many years of experience. Lisa, please go ahead.
Hello. This is very exciting business. I'm the coordinator together with Francesco, who is hiding behind the screen right now. Rete Italiana Pace e Disarmo is his name on screen. You recognize him there. Well, I've followed a little bit here and there of the 22 hours that have preceded this segment. And I must say, it's quite an experiment to go around the world backwards, really, in a sense, but as the sun does. And I've seen so many different things. And I think the main message that comes across in all this is how diverse we all are and how we're all working towards peace, but from different points of view and doing different things. And I'm sure that what is fantastic is that we are now creating synergy for all this. Anyway, thank you, Sean. I think you're still going to be there to help us out if we need you. I know that Emily and perhaps Michelle and Alessandra will be there as well from the Berlin office. We are here, Francesco and I can't see you, Francesco, but I'm sure that, are you making us, I think we're going to be, there he is, standing in front of the United Nations, except he's not in front of the United Nations, he's in front of a picture of that wonderful sculpture of the nonviolent gun being knotted so that it can no longer shoot. We're here because as we're part of the Europe for Peace network that was born in Italy, but has since spread to other parts of the world. And we've got lots and lots of material sort of listed. I'm not quite sure that we're going to get through everything, but we do have an awful lot of materials and speakers and actions to illustrate. I would like to start with the Europe for Peace video that Francesco can now show us.
Parla Francesco.
No, Fabio.
Parla.
Can I take a walk with no destination? Can I wander aimlessly? Can I wander aimlessly? Besides the world spinning, could I have my straying? Could I have my straying? Could I have my straying? Here I go again.
I find that very moving. Francesco, it's an important day for us today that we who have always been working on nuclear disarmament. Today is the anniversary of the manifesto presented by Bertrand Russell and Albert Einstein to the United Nations on this day, 9th of July, 1955, in which they appealed, with other Nobel laureates and scientists as well, they appealed to the heads of state and government to remember their humanity and forget the rest. They appealed to them to think of others as well as their own power, individual power. It was the first idea of common security, which was then celebrated a few decades later by politicians such as Olof Palme. And we have found the original recording of Bertrand Russell presenting that appeal to the General Assembly of the United Nations. Can you play that, Francesco?
All right, I'm trying to now do this because I have to do via YouTube. So let's stick for a moment. Thank you.
Okay, don't worry. It's if it doesn't happen, it's just a historical curiosity. I didn't know it existed until I started looking for things relating to the Russell-Einstein Manifesto. A lot has been done on this because it really was a crucially important piece of thinking that influenced the world gradually, not at first and not for a long time, but it did influence policies in the long run. And in fact, it influenced the creation of ICANN in the long run, 40 years later, or 50 years later almost, with the humanitarian disarmament notion. Let's see if we can hear Bertrand Russell now.
I think he has to start at the 6 minutes and 50 seconds, if I'm not mistaken, because you send me the link starting not
No, I think it's at the beginning, and it goes on just the first 3 minutes, if you can
manage. Okay, good. So I will start from the beginning. Okay.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this conference was called by Lord Bertrand Russell in order to make public a statement signed by a number of scientists on the significance of nuclear warfare. I hope that each of you has received a copy of the statement. I'm going to call on Lord Russell to give a short summary of this statement, and afterwards the meeting will be thrown open to you to ask questions relating to this problem. Lord Russell.
Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of this conference is to bring to your notice, and through you to the notice of the world, a statement signed by 8 of the most eminent scientists in fields cognate to nuclear warfare, about the perils that are involved in nuclear warfare and the absolute necessity, therefore, of avoiding war. I will just read you a brief abstract here, which I think you already have. The accompanying statement, which has been signed by some of the most eminent scientific authorities in different parts of the world, deals with the perils of a nuclear war. It makes it clear that neither side can hope for victory in such a war, and that there is a very real danger of the extermination of the human race by dust and rain from radioactive clouds. It suggests that neither the public nor the governments of the world are adequately aware of the danger. It points out that an agreed prohibition of nuclear weapons while it might be useful in lessening tension, would not afford a solution, since such weapons would certainly be manufactured and used in a great war, in spite of previous agreements to the contrary. The only hope for mankind is the avoidance of war. To call for a way of thinking which shall make such avoidance possible is the purpose of this statement. The first move came as a collaboration between Einstein and myself. Einstein's signature was given in the last week of his life.
That was, it was a historical emotion to me. 68 years ago that was, and yes, 68 years ago. And it's fresh today and still needed today. So since I had heard that Maria Cueva Mendes, who should be our next speaker, I can't see her where she is on this. Perhaps other people can see her.
We are here. Yes.
Good, you're wonderful. And Maria, I wanted to give the floor to Maria, who comes from Oviedo in the Asturias, and wanted to illustrate in a video the action that they've taken. Originally, she said on the anniversary of the Russell-Einstein Manifesto. So here we are. I saw your video. May I say that it is very brave and very interesting of you to start with full in-depth information the way you did. Maria, the floor is yours.
Hello. Hello. So yesterday we did an action in a public square here in our little city in Oviedo. So we are going to show you the action we did. We did like an installation with some information, and we did some artistic performance. We also read the manifesto, the Russell-Einstein Manifesto, and we put actually that video, that audio, the original audio as well. So we'll show you now the 3-minute video.
Disable participant screen sharing, or?
I can share it. I already, so if you say go, I will share it, okay?
Thank you so much.
We don't want to keep your time, so
yeah,
there's many people.
There it is.
Hello, here we are in the Peace Wave here in Asturias in the north of Spain, and we have a beautiful installation that my friend Sue has worked a lot on. So we have a lot of information about this is what worries about the world, the loss of our rights and liberties.
The censorship on the Vienna summit.
And some people, some critics to the autumn politics from the West. Everything is in Spanish, of course, because we're in Spain. Some background about the Hiroshima and Nagasaki nuclear bombs. Also, one study estimation from Princeton that imagines that the first instances of a possible nuclear war in the near future, and how many people would die, how fast, and of course economic repercussions, which is something that worries the general public. And our slogan, of course, with a friend Albert Einstein, and also the Pacific axis of the world, which is something we believe very important right now. And then we also have a chronology of the nuclear treaties between Russia and the US. And some
you can sign for petitions here. You have a link to a list of petitions that you can sign. Some art,
some art because we are artists.
Well, these are artists against the bombs. Publish this, and they put it public to use it. This is the story of Sadako Saki. That's why we have these cranes.
Yeah. And yes, European Union diplomacy and the NATO with Russia and Ukraine. Another chronology from the 80s.
Since the 90s until the invasion. Until now.
And the nuclear winter.
And some nuclear tests also.
And that's all.
We don't
have a big audience, but we don't care. Because this is just the beginning.
Just the beginning. We are
like
just
we have like joined this peace wave, and it's also like our first public event.
We
have
do
been talking about this for a long time. We have been studying war for a long time, actually, together and separately. And this is like the coming up. I don't know how to say that, but our first public event. We don't even have a name as a collective.
Yeah, that's true. And we'll do a performance afterwards.
Yes, we'll have an
artistic performance. We're very proud of that.
That's it.
Woohoo!
So,
peace.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Maria. I'm surprised that we can't see you, but there we are. That's it. Maria, thank you very much. And your friend that we didn't understand the name of. Ah, there they are. Aramo. Is that you? Okay, wonderful. You know what you need? We in Italy are very proud of the peace flag, and we have it everywhere. And it was sort of seemed to us that it was maybe missing. Can we send you a peace flag? Did you understand that? Yes. Okay. Okay.
We were considering buying it from Amazon.
Yes, you don't have them in Spain. There's not something that exists much. I see. Okay, someone told me what I should be doing. Wonderful. Now we have another guest from Spain who has done an important action in Valencia, which is quite a long way away from where you are in Oviedo. It's down in the south. And Alberto, I don't know if Alberto's with us here to send the video. Alberto, are you there?
Yeah, I have already sent it.
I know that you sent it. I know that you sent it.
Oh yeah, I sent it to you, Lisa.
But
yeah.
I was wondering if you wanted to introduce it.
Yeah, well, it was we did something like an hour concentration in Valencia city, in the center of the city, and there was something like 50 people, something like that, or even more. So that it was very nice rally with performance, songs, poetry, slogans, and a lot of things. So what you can see just 5 minutes, but it's last about something like about 1 hour or one and a half hour. So if you want, I have sent it to you, Lisa.
Yes, Francesco will now screen.
In any case, you can see it. Yeah.
Thank you, Alberto.
En nom de l'organització, donem la benvinguda a les persones que avui, en ple estiu, participeu en aquesta concentració. Una concentració per denunciar la catàstrofe que representa la guerra i la necessitat d'impulsar una mobilització que ajude a construir un moviment pacifista a nivell internacional, capaç d'aturar l'espiral de mort, de patiment i de destrucció com la que es viu ara mateix en el cor d'Europa. Necessitem una mobilització per aturar aquesta i altres guerres, una mobilització que frene els riscos que ens porten a una hecatombe nuclear. Mentre la guerra d'Ucraïna continua des de ja fa 16 mesos, vora de 500 dies, El context del conflicte és de màxima preocupació. El secretari general de l'OTAN, Jens Stoltenberg, ha informat de la celebració d'una cimera de l'Aliança Atlàntica aquest dimarts i dimecres, 11 i 12 de juliol, a la capital lituana de Vilna. L'anterior conferència de caps d'estat i de govern de països de la OTAN es va celebrar a Madrid. Res positiu esperem de la reunió que comença després demà i que representa un nou impuls a la guerra, al militarisme i a l'increment de la despesa militar. Aquest no és la via per viure en un món sense guerres.
Si el món fos, de Joana Raspall. Si el món fos escrit en llapis, podria esborrar la lletra que vol ferir, podria esborrar mentides que no cal dir, n'esborraria l'enveja, que porta mals, n'esborraria grandeses de mèrits fals, però és escrit en tinta de mal color, el color brut de la guerra i del dolor. Qui voldria escriure un nou món més just i net? Pot ser que tu i jo ho provéssim. Ben valents, lletra per lletra, des del nostre raconet.
I avions i tot el cercle de canons no apuntes al meu poble on vas amb la vergonya per galó i en el fusell dus la por no apuntes al meu poble on vas quan ja l'infant no vol jugar perquè el carrer vessa de sang i ets tu i l'omple on vas quan ja l'infant no pot mirar ni veure el matí ni aquell cel clar i ets tu i el Robert on vas amb les banderes on vas amb avions on vas
So really thanks, Alberto, for your actions over there. So if you want to close this section and then we'll bring to other and maybe it's telling us what you're trying to do in the next few months.
Okay, for us has been very, very nice to participate in this action and this all global event so that we'll be doing the same next time. Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Alberto. Thank you. That's very good, very good. We had a request at the last minute from Denmark. Lisbeth, I saw your name amongst the people in the Zoom call right now. This is your chance, if you're willing. There she is, Lisbeth. Unmute yourself. Unmute. Lisbeth. You have to unmute yourself. I can't do that for you. The images are great, but
Yeah, I think that
you've
the
got to
ones
tell
with
us, you've got to allow us to understand what you're saying.
I think it's not a problem of being a co-host. It's the fact that they are not unmuting themselves. I can
Yeah,
also
exactly.
put,
There's nothing we can do about it.
yeah, because it's not something that it comes from us.
Okay. Oh, what a shame. She contacted us at the very last minute about an hour ago, and anyway, so she can't. I don't think she's anywhere near the.
Yeah, maybe
they
they
probably can't hear us.
the phone, and maybe we can try next just to say hello.
The next is we can either watch. Let's watch Karin Finkenau's video that she sent us, which is quite short, and then we've got Sara and Giampiero Cofano from Stop the War Now.
Thank you very much for taking part in this 24-hour peace wave. Open windows, open doors, open all doors that are closed for the unknown, the foreign, the new. Don't stay in the hard mind you have thrown over the world. Open all windows, all doors, all fences, all frontiers. Let us take the stones for building houses, homes for all kids on earth. No one really wants to throw the first stone, so let it pass. Maybe everyone wants to lay down the first stone of a home. Let us overcome the years of thrown stones against children, against our necks, against our heart, against our life. Open the prison walls against the truth tellers like Julian Assange and all the other human rights fighters, against the woman, against life. We do not need martyrs anymore because we do not believe in the power of the self-made scaffoldings built by us out of fear. We do not need to kneel down in front of pietas we put on the throne, woman with their dead child, dead love, their dead beloved ones. We have to change now. Let the beauty of life live, the hair open in the wind, expose the faces free to encounter. We can look in human eyes, out of our human eyes. We can let others look into our eyes, because what shall they find except humanity? Our will to be cold, to be hard. We have to stop talking tough to each other. We need to stop to insist on our own plans and opinions, how it should be done, how it should be. Should open ourselves for the floating, open ourselves to the power of being nice, to the power of beauty, the beauty that is healing and calling us. We should open our hearts and mind, and deep thankfulness will take away the wooden bar in front of our eyes, in front of human beings, in front of all kids. Our hands stretching up to the sky, and we are trying to bring the white dove back with the olive branch. It has to come again, to find a home for all kids on earth. It is so difficult. It needs so much. It needs all our love, our patience, our will to the truth, our will to change, our courage to take responsibility. without knowing the future, without knowing who they are, who we are ourselves, and where we come from and where we go to. Our courage to go step by step in the direction of light and love, trustful in the life we got and thankful. It is the most difficult one can do to provide a home for kids. Please let us all think and work to give all children a home. Every child on earth is a child of mankind, so it's a child of us. Then there will be no time for war, for hate, no time for killing nature, no time for making profit. There would be only time to look for this little light, little love, little beauty, to feel home. And we would stop the circle of trauma, the circle of hurt, the circle of blood and tears, and we will open our heart to be ready for peace. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Karina Finkenau from Germany. You see, we have artists, peace activists, academics. We have a bit of everyone here with us. Sergio Basoli, who is the coordinator of Europe for Peace, is now with us somewhere. I can't see him properly, but then Francesco can. And we also have with us Matteo Bracciali from ACLI, which is a very, very, very large organization in Italy, which is part of Europe for Peace. We were recently all in Vienna together. And the Vienna Peace Summit for Peace in Ukraine, which was convened by IPB and Europe for Peace and many other organizations. Matteo, you were in Vienna, and it was one of your first times it was certainly the first time at the IPB, at an IPB conference and summit. Tell us a bit about what you felt, and then we will get hold of Giampiero too.
So thank you, Lisa. Thank you for this kind of activity that is very important for us, because it's the first time that ACLI participate on IPB meeting, and we was very happy to be there, because first of all the associations of Europe for Peace, I think have reached a big goal that the association that work for peace every day is together, stand for peace, and work together. I think this is the first big goal, and the second goal that Europe for Peace with the IPB and other associations all over the world work for peace, and the third goal is that in the final agreement, the final statement, we will mobility for peace at the end of September. So for us, I think Vienna had been one of most important meeting, and in this time, times where weapons are more voices than peace, I think the goal most important we are reached.
Thank you very much, Matteo. That's wonderful. I know, I must say, when we came back to Italy, the declaration that everyone had agreed upon in Vienna those days, was something that was greeted with great surprise, first of all, because it is well known that people in the peace camp tend to diversify, as it were, rather than find a unified position. But not only that the unified position was found, but that it was found on the ceasefire, on the negotiations, and this gave people hope that something could happen. So we're all a little bit more hopeful now, even though things are going very badly still as far as weapons are concerned. We who are the Peace and Disarmament Network to hear that the next shipment is going to be cluster munitions is something such a shock, such a terrible shock. But anyway, we don't seem to, we're supposed to have next our friends from Stop the War Now, which is all part of Europe for Peace as well. We can't seem to find them, but they have sent us 2 videos. So I think we can certainly show the first one, which illustrates the 5 different caravans that Europe for Peace took to Ukraine. I was saying at the beginning that we all have different ways of approaching peace, of building peace. There are those who demonstrate. There are those who work for human contact and building bridges with the victims of wars. This is one such example, taking humanitarian aid, but also human solidarity to the victims of war. And in that occasion, especially in the first caravan, bringing back to safety, to a safe refuge, people who wanted to get out from under the bombing. And so bringing refugees back to be hosted in Italian families. Do you want to send that now, Francesco?
Venerdì 1 aprile una delegazione di 221 persone.
Un convoglio umanitario partito dall'Italia è arrivato a Leopoli.
Questa mattina stiamo aiutando ad evacuare 170 persone. Ci sono decine e decine di pulmini che sono venuti dall'Italia per venirli a prendere e accompagnarli.
Una iniziativa di pace non violenta dal titolo Stop the War Now.
Fa freddo, nevica, ma è una giornata importante.
30 tonnellate di cibo e di medicinali utili per gli ospedali ucraini.
Arrivare con i pulmini lì e portare le cose lì dentro. Facciamo una catena e entriamo tutto il cibo qua dentro.
Volevo sapere una cosa, quanti sono davvero?
67 pulmini, 250 persone partite.
Avete affrontato un viaggio incredibile, siete partiti ieri, avete attraversato il confine polacco. Ci spieghi che cosa state facendo?
L'idea è di poter contribuire materialmente, quindi portando del materiale, ma anche simbolicamente, cioè vogliamo dire no alla guerra, vogliamo metterci dalla parte delle vittime e essere qua a fianco a loro in prima persona.
Lunedì Valpiana e altri membri di ONG partiranno per una missione a Cernizzi e a Kiev. Aiuti umanitari, ma anche l'incontro con l'ambasciatore italiano e il nunzio apostolico. La volontà è creare una rete con le associazioni della società civile, gli obiettori di coscienza, i pacifisti del paese.
Rivolgo una benedizione alla carovana di pace che in questi giorni è partita dall'Italia per l'Ucraina.
Siamo appena arrivati ad Odessa dopo 50 ore di viaggio, siamo in 150 con 25 mezzi e oltre 20 tonnellate di aiuti e circa 30 generatori che doneremo alla popolazione locale, in maniera particolare per i centri di accoglienza e dei rifugiati. Ma non siamo venuti solo per questo, siamo venuti per portare un messaggio di pace, per dire io ci metto la mia vita per la pace.
Perché siamo qua per dirci che siamo fratelli, che vi siamo vicini.
Senti nell'aria c'è già la nostra canzone d'amore che va, come un pensiero che sa di felicità.
Stiamo
andando con questo pulmino carico di aiuti con i nostri amici di Mykolaiv, di Youth of Ukraine. Stiamo andando a Kherson.
Stop the war now! Sceglie di mettere i propri corpi a servizio della pace, sceglie di abitare il conflitto, sceglie di schierarsi dalla parte delle vittime, sceglie di stare dalla parte di quei civili che possono solo sperare di non essere colpiti dalla furia delle armi.
I found that very moving, I must say. I wasn't on any one of those caravans, although I did speak to them occasionally while they were on their trip. But it really was an amazing venture with so many people that showed what the sentiment of peace activists really is, really down at the bottom of their hearts. We have another video from them because, of course, Papa Giovanni, the Operazione Colomba, who are the pillar of Stop the War Now, their charisma is in fact that of living amidst victims of war and injustices. And so since the war in Ukraine started, they built up a community within Ukraine. They were living first in Lviv and then in Odessa, and then they moved to Mykolaiv, and they're very near Kherson and near the front line. And in this short video, they're going to show us where they are and who they live with and how they help out the people, but basically how they share the same conditions as the people under the bombing. And they feel that this is just as important as bringing humanitarian aid. It's humanitarian solidarity. That's what this whole section is all about. Francesco.
Good morning. We are a group of volunteers from Operazione Colomba from Italy, and here we are in Mykolaiv, in the south of Ukraine. Living here in this place 1 year ago, at the beginning of the last summer. This place is a shelter. There are approximately 30 people living here. Now the situation is better, but till 3 months ago, almost every day Mykolaiv was under shelling. And this center is a place for the people to hide themselves. It's also a place that provides water and food for some thousand people here around. Now we can go and see the shelter underground. Part of our work is to stay here, and the other part of the work is staying in Kherson. Kherson at the moment is the front line. Every day is under the shelling, and because of the explosion 2 weeks ago of the dam on Novakakochka, there is no drinkable water in Kherson, so we provide also water for Kherson. This is the main room, and in the direction where the room to sleep. This room was finished some days ago. Can host like 30 people from refugees from here around, maybe from Kherson.
Yeah, what we do here is to stay with the people, live with them. Basically, we share our time. We play ping pong, we play music, we sing, and also we work with them. As Alberto said, the problem now is water. So here in Mykolaiv, in the past months, they installed different machine to clean the water, to have drinkable water. And now the problem is the big problem is in Kherson.
We are part of an environment peace group, and we are volunteers. We choose to stay here with those people because we think that in this moment To protect the people means to share their life. Now we are in Kherson in these days to help the people here that have to face the consequences of the flood. House completely destroyed like this. Now the waters went out, but there is mud and a strong smell. And you can hear explosion, maybe, approximately each minute. We are like some 100 meters from the front line. What we try to do is help the people to go back to a better life. We cannot say normal because being on the front line, it's very hard to have a normal life. We are here to stay with people in Kherson during bombing and to help them, not to leave them alone, first of all. It's the only way to say them that their life is worth for someone.
Yeah, as you see in Operazione Colomba, and as I was also writing down in the chat, they are present all over the world with this Peace Corps. They are present in South America, in Palestine, in other places. And that's why we use this expertise they have as a pillar, like Lisa said before, of this Stop the War Now coalition that was able to bring this much humanitarian aid and to sustain the presence of people over there because it's very wide. Like the Europe for Peace coalition is very wide. You've seen before Giampiero Cofano addressing people from a stage. That was a stage of the huge peace rally we held last year in the early November in Rome. Also, Lisa spoke in front of 100,000 people. And that's why it's important to bring together all the experiences. So, Lisa, what we have next now?
Well, I think we should tell everybody that it's not just in Italy. Maybe we can switch around what I had suggested to you, Francesco, because you're quite right. There's been too much Italy right now, and I'm sure the video of the Peace March can wait till afterwards. And it's time to hear from. I see that Ludo de Brabander is here. Ludo was one of the organizers of an extremely important, actually, it was women really, but he was there, extremely important, Women United for Peace and Against NATO in Brussels for 3 days. So someone in the chat has just written, "My too much Italy, è impossibile." I don't know who it is because you don't have your name, World Beyond War, but thank you. Yes, I agree with that. Dear Ludo, here we are. And I think it's up to you. We're quite punctual. I switched things around a bit, but Ludo, I said 10 to 2, and 10 to 2 it is. Italians are punctual as well.
Very good, very good. So, no, I'm Ludo from Belgium, Ludo Dam from Belgium, working for a peace organization. I'm the spokesperson of Vredevisse 2. And let's say we have a tradition almost that since 2008, 2009, to organize counter summits or counter events each time there's a NATO summit, because NATO is symbolizing a lot of things. You know, there's an image of NATO and there's a real reality. And the real reality of NATO is, of course, that it's militarizing our societies, that it's also a nuclear alliance, and that also plays an awful role around Ukraine. What we saw now is also partly a responsibility, historically spoken, of NATO. So what happened in Brussels is that we had like a 3-day event in Brussels on the initiative of a group of international women. And Ula, unfortunately, she couldn't join us here online because else she would explain it. So she asked me to explain what was the initiative and why. So the idea was to gather women from all over the world together on these 3 days, with first a meeting in the European Parliament based on a declaration of peace that you can find on the womenagainstnato.org website. and it's open to sign of all of you, to discuss this in the European Parliament, followed by 2 days event that has been attended by hundreds of women worldwide, in person in Brussels or online, because it was a hybrid event, with meetings on Europe, on Africa, on the Indo-Pacific, Latin America, Northern America, like 5 meetings. And in the evening, he also had a panel discussion, Global NATO or Global Peace. And hopefully we can soon, I've not still the links yet, but it has all been recorded for those who are interested. You can find it, for example, soon on the Facebook page of No to War, No to NATO, which is another network that organized one of the events. And so last but not least, we also focused on the military spending. As you know, NATO announced a few days before the summit in Vilnius, I think it was last Friday, that military spending of halfway 2023 has been increased again with 8%, more than 8% compared to 2022. And so with 1,100 billion of dollars now, more than half of military spending in the world, and it's not enough. And as you know, in the Vilnius, they want to, the 2% target, to invest 2% of GDP, gross domestic product, into military expenditures should not be longer a kind of ceiling, but is a minimum target. And this is something they want to agree on in Vilnius. So this was our focus for a rally we held in Brussels, in the center of Brussels, at Plaza Albertine, with a section of the international women that have been in Brussels that day before yesterday, and also with some of the Belgian peace activists, and focusing on military expenditure, asking and calling for a ceiling and stopping to invest further in military expenditures and use the money instead for real security, human security, which is social and environmental investment, or investment against this planetary threat, which is the climate change, the real threat for humanity. So this was our call. And when I'm not mistaken, there should be now a video. Yes. Yeah. A video of this.
We can see really what you have done, which was amazing. So I launched the video.
Okay, thank you.
Avec le pied fantastique.
1, 2, 3, dismantle NATO now.
L'OTAN est en train de militariser notre société. Une des choses qui est en train de se faire, c'est on utilise la guerre en Ukraine. On utilise la guerre en Ukraine pour monter très fort les dépenses militaires. Et nous trouvons qu'on n'a pas besoin d'une augmentation pour la sécurité, d'une augmentation de dépenses militaires. On a besoin d'une augmentation d'investissement social et écologique. Et c'est ça qui donne la sécurité humaine.
America. And we spend $722 million a year on our defense, on our military. It's 55% of all of the NATO budgets.
Invest in peace, not in war. Invest in peace and not in war.
Of GDP on our military spending, but in 2022 we have been spending 3 times more than our neighbors in Greece. Out of the whole European Union, we are the greatest, investing some 5,386,8, so almost $54 million in 2022. Woo! Belgium, we would like to be like you.
That was wonderful. Ludo, you were great. And thanks to Marie-Jeanne, who did the editing in no time, overnight, I think she must have worked.
Yes, in a short time. Yeah, I will thank her for that. Yeah.
Very good.
Grateful.
Fantastic. We're all enthusiastic about that. Thank you again, Ludo. We also have a video now of something also that is very much in the streets with people and action. This is the traditional peace march in Italy from Perugia to Assisi. It's 25 kilometers long. It normally happens every other year. Since the war in Ukraine has begun, there have been 4 extraordinary marches extraordinary.
Yeah, and this is the last one, so it's a way for you to have a hint of what this is all about. It's an historical march, like Lisa was saying, that dates back on the 60s and was, established by the nonviolent movement in various, important cities for Italy for peace, because in Perugia was founded the nonviolent movement, and Assisi is the hometown of St. Francis. So let's see what happens in this very good and colorful march.
E l'acqua si riempie di schiuma, il cielo di fumi, la chimica lebbra distrugge la vita nei fiumi, uccelli che volano a stento, malati di morte. Il freddo interesse alla vita ha sbarrato le porte. un'isola intera ha trovato nel mare una tomba. Il falso progresso ha voluto provare una bomba, poi pioggia che toglie la sete alla terra che è viva, e invece ne porta la morte perché è radioattiva. Eppure il vento soffia ancora, spruzza l'acqua alle navi sulla prora e sussurra canzoni tra le foglie, bacia i fiori, li bacia e non li coglie. Un giorno il denaro ha scoperto la guerra mondiale, ha dato il suo putrido segno all'istinto bestiale, ha ucciso, bruciato, distrutto in un triste rosario, e tutta la terra si è avvolta di un nero sudario. E presto la chiave nascosta di nuovi segreti, così copriranno di fango persino i pianeti, vorranno inquinare le stelle, la guerra tra i soli. I crimini contro la vita li chiamano errori. Eppure il vento soffia ancora, spruzza l'acqua alle navi sulla prora e sussurra canzoni tra le foglie, bacia i fiori, li bacia e non li coglie. Eppure sfiora le campagne, accarezza sui fianchi le montagne e scompiglia le donne tra i capelli, corre a gara in volo con gli uccelli. Eppure il vento soffia ancora.
Well, that was certainly rousing, wasn't it? And that's what peace is all about. And you need all that energy if you have to walk 25 kilometers 4 times in 1 year because of a damn war in Europe. But anyway, this is really, really fantastic. And every time there are millions of people there. But now we're going to hear from Chiara, who I'm already seeing there. Chiara is from Parma. And in many of our cities, you know, you can't always turn up and go and take a day off and go and do the peace march. So you organize it in your own city, in your own town, and even in the neighborhoods, in the different quarters of your own town. And in Parma is just one of the many examples in Italy. But Chiara is going to tell us about this great example of organizing peace in a city.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa. I'm Chiara, and I'm here representing an association, an Italian association of the city of Parma called Casa della Pace, that in Italian literally means House of Peace. And our association, Casa della Pace, is composed of all the other associations of Parma that try to promote peace in our city, thus realizing a continued engagement and involvement of all types of people. One of our most important contribution is the participation at the Perugia Activities March, and then during the year, the presentation of the themes of the march in our city and in our neighborhood. As an example, in this photo is a walk for peace and fraternity that we organized in the month of June in a specific neighborhood in Parma called Montebello. And the title of the walk of the march was Against All War Around the World, Leave the War Out of History. This is a photo of the march, and we were very happy to know that thanks to emails, messages, and social media, the photos of our march have reached our friends in Ukraine, and we were sent back this photo with a written message of thanks directly from Ukraine. So this is a great demonstration that we can truly create a global peace movement as we are doing with this event right now. And another important commitment for us is that every Saturday morning for years, Casa della Pace has been demonstrating in Piazza Garibaldi, that is the main square of the city of Parma. thanks to a member association of Casa della Pace that is called Donne in Nero, or Women in Black. And Women in Black is a pacifist movement that rejects the logic of nationalism and arms. And these women every Saturday are also assuming individual responsibility against war and against destruction and hatred and exclusion. And they, with their silent and standing protest, they expressed a firm no against violence and against the propaganda of a country like Italy that is now very involved with arms and militarism. And they try to demonstrate also against military spending and against all war around the world. And we have now a video that we shot yesterday morning in Parma, in Piazza Garibaldi, the main square, where all our women in black were protesting.
Attenzione che sta arrivando.
So thank you, Chiara, for these, videos and images. And of course, it's wonderful to know that all the big coalitions also work at the local level, and we really think that it's important to go on, also because in the local towns, in the local neighborhoods, you can reach out to people directly and talk to them, not only through media that of course they change the message, then they try to misinterpret that in some ways. So thank you again, and we start. Ciao. We started at the beginning talking about the Russell Einstein Manifesto, and there was something also interesting, not only in the anniversary today of this manifesto, but that 2 days ago was also the anniversary of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, which is the pillar for us of the humanitarian disarmament that has to engage the idea of a world free from nuclear weapons. So it's interesting, and I think it's moving, like Lisa was saying before, to try to be there the 7th of July 2017 in New York, in the building that you see behind my back, but only in a picture, and what happened like more than 70 years after the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So I'll show you this video now. And
the voting has
Sorry, but I have to start
the voting.
And show it to you. Sorry, there has been a problem. I'm trying to do it again. Let's see if this time works. I don't know why it doesn't, it's not working, but let's try it again. Okay. I don't think you're hearing. I don't know why.
I can't hear it now.
But this was the announcement of the vote, and at least you can see all the people screaming in joy, because at that room and the United Nations, for the first time, there was an instrument and international norms that really prohibited nuclear weapons. And just to talk about that, because we think that disarmament is a pillar of peace, and of course it's important to start from the very big weapons and the most inhuman that are the nuclear weapons. I'm showing you a small video from ICANN Norway that organized this last March in Oslo, after 10 years of the humanitarian initiative, a forum to act on it, to act on nuclear weapons and to try really to make them outside history. So let's hear about what was going on in Oslo last March.
We are now in Norway, Oslo, at ICANN Act on It forum.
It's important to take action against nuclear weapons because of the devastating impact it has, not only on our environment, but on the people that's impacted. These could be generational and could lead to serious defects in the future.
No serious consideration of doing so by the higher levels, but there was some lower level analysis of change the trajectory.
It is important now to take actions against nuclear weapons, because nowadays the danger of nuclear war is the highest. Actually, when we say nuclear war, it's not true, because if nuclear war happens, it would be a nuclear suicide. That's why it is very important to act now, as we see this war in Ukraine and aggression of Russian Federation, that they threaten with possible use of nuclear weapons, shows us that it is very dangerous. Even by accident, by human error or computer error, can lead to this nuclear catastrophe, which is not acceptable at all.
It's really inspiring to be with other people who are in support of the same cause that you are here for, to see people of different sorts of backgrounds, experts who have expert knowledge that can give you the sort of support that you need as someone who's advocating for nuclear non-proliferation.
Yeah, what a good way to, remember the beginning of the humanitarian initiative. And of course, also Oslo is a place that we all like because, as you know, in 2017, the same year in which we were able to make the TPNW be voted in the UN, was also the year in which the Nobel Committee awarded the Nobel Peace Prize to the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons. So, Lisa, what we are up to now?
We've got a special guest here right now, Marion, from the disarmament camp in Nørvenich, which is also, it's a climate change and disarmament. Marion, can you hear me? I can't see. Marion. Okay. Well, can you speak?
Yeah, I hope I can speak, and I hope you can hear me as well.
Yes, we can hear you very well. Show us where you are and what you're doing, very brief. Thank you.
Quite surprised that this works. Yeah, we are at the climate camp against nukes right now in Nørvenich in Germany. So we are camping here for 1 week now. Today is the last day between the Hambach forest, which has been saved from an open pit coal mine, and the Nørvenich air base, where the nuclear bombers from Germany are stationed right now because of the rearmament process. Their original base is closed and being restructured. So we are trying to combine climate crimes and crimes against humanity on this camp. And because the military is probably directly responsible for around 5% of CO2 emissions globally and maintains global power imbalances in trade policies that oppress people and destroy their livelihoods, just as the climate change. And also it is highly dependent on fossil fuels to maintain the global operational capability, as they would call it. So they do not only protect the petroleum industry and extractivist interests of industrialized countries in the global south, but the military itself is also a powerful reason for our states not to abandon fossil fuels. So there can be no climate neutral military, and we don't want any either. And the nuclear weapons, they need mines in Niger and Mali and other places all around the world. They need neo-colonial structures. They need lies and oppression to appear legitimate. And they are the pinnacle of patriarchal power for a few governments that want to blackmail the majority of the world through threats of destruction. And all of this we combined in our camp. We had lots of workshops and people from different movements gathering here, talking about feminism, talking about climate crisis. We had an activist from Kenya, from Fridays for Future. We had somebody from Great Britain, and we also did some direct action against the pit mine and the station, the airfield where the bombers are stationed right now. I don't have a video prepared right now because we are still in the process of our camp, but maybe you will see something on the news, or if you're in the newsletters, you will see. So what they basically did this year is that they expected us to come to the main gate to block it like we do every year. And they blocked it for us in advance, which was really nice because then they sent the soldiers around in the back, and we could simply block the back as well. So we had to take care only of one gate instead of two. That was really kind of the military station. And we're looking forward to that kind of cooperation also next year. So if you want to be part of it, this camp, the Büchel camp, will take place next year again.
Thank you, Marion. And I'm sure many of us here listening will be there. We'll be there with you. That's fantastic. Really thrilled that we're going back to the physical being in the places again. Wonderful. We had someone asked a question in the chat, said, do you know that there is the Object War campaign going on? Well, in our program, we have one of the coordinators, the organizers here, who's going to talk to us about it. Daniele, it's up to you now. There.
Yeah, okay. Now you can hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, the same day the full-scale invasion from Russia to Ukraine started, all the media start to ask the question, where are the pacifists? But the pacifists were already here with our friends in Ukraine, with our friends in Russia, with our friends in Belarus. And so we started a lot of action the day after, included a joint statement among movement of conscience objection in Russia and Ukraine pacifist movement in Ukraine to call on peace and to end the war. all this action, all this international solidarity, or all this support and empowerment of the courageous, brave men and women that refuse the war, and to kill in these countries, was gathered in the occasion of 21st of September, the International Day of Peace, to launch an international campaign, Object War campaign, that is organized by the Connection EV in Germany, the International Fellowship of Reconciliation, the European Bureau for Coscienza Object to Military Service, and the War Resistor International. With this campaign, we call for to join the global effort to ensure protection and asylum to Coscienza objectors, draft dodgers, and deserters from Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine involved in the current war in the region. They are our hope to refuse war and let peace prevail. With this campaign, we do a lot of things. To say something shortly, we have at the core of the campaign this petition, also in the chat now. I saw that it was mentioned. We have now more than 50,000 of signatures, and this petition is addressed to the President of the European Council, to the President of the European Parliament, the President of the European Commission, to emphasize the need to uphold the right to asylum to Coscienza objectors. And we have also this, we already did, both in Italy and in Europe, these things, for example, in the war in Yugoslavia. There are an estimated 100,000 Russian military draftees and deserters now, an estimated 20,000 Belarusian military draftees have left their country, and over 100,000 men have evaded war involvement in Ukraine and fled abroad. So every recruit can be a Coscienza objector, every soldier a deserter. Let's support those who refuse to kill and end the war together. For to do this is really, really important to support the pacifist and nonviolent and anti-militarist organization in those countries, Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus. For example, you know now the movement of Coscienza objectors in Russia was addressed as terrorist organization by the Russian government, and we call for international solidarity on this. And also, for example, the Ukraine pacifist movement is attacked often by Ukraine government, and especially the military organization in Ukraine. For us, it's really important to stand with the Coscienza objector, because Coscienza objector is a human rights at the core also of European standard of human rights. Also for this reason, we are really, really happy to have with us virtually also Yuri Shiletsenko, the leader of the Ukraine pacifist movement and one of the best promoters of this campaign. So it's really important to hear our voices and to stand together. Thanks.
Greetings, peace and love from Kiev. I would like to convey a message of hope from Ukraine. I hope to live in a better world where everybody refuses to kill and there are no wars. I hope people will forget anachronistic violent notions of sovereignty and territorial integrity in a world governed without violence, a world living as one good environmental friendly family of humankind on a common planet Earth without armies and borders. This is my hope. There is and always should be a hope, despite my country today is epitome of desperation. Literally today, because I record this message after another everyday attack of rockets and drones killing people at night and at daylight too. During 9 years, Ukraine was devastated by armed power grabs and proxy war between Russian-backed and Western-backed forces, including local volunteers and victims of violent conscription. Souls of people crippled on both sides of the front line by centuries-long military patriotic upbringing and everyday portions of hate in news make them vulnerable to divide and rule manipulations and military serfdom, falsely presented as honorable duty. After centuries of repressions and discrimination against individuals and groups committed to non-violent way of life and critical to militarism, Russian and Ukrainian people are deprived of vital roots of peace culture, deprived of knowledge how to resolve conflict peacefully, how to protect civilians, resist aggressions, oppressions and crimes without violence. Because of that, it is easy to throw people into the funnel of conflict. And I have no need to explain you how this conflict escalated. You should already know about immature cruelty of Ukrainian nationalism, about rivalry and criminal wars of American and Russian imperialists, about NATO expansion and brutal Russian invasion of Ukraine, about destroyed homes, lives and cities, tens of thousands of killed people on both sides, including civilians, including children, about millions of refugees, contaminated environment. You also know the notorious peace formula of our President Zelensky. Give me more weapons to kill enemies, and after Ukrainian victory at any cost, there will be peace, armed to the teeth to wage new wars from generation to generation. You know that both sides have plans to wage this war during multiple decades. Because of war profiteering and weapons supply from Europe and America to Ukraine, from Asia and China to Russia, this war in Ukraine naked global cancer tumor of militarism, which could end in a brain-dead decision to press red button and in nuclear apocalypse. This cancer tumor of militarism needs serious therapy to uphold human right to refuse to kill, to stop the war by civil resistance and advocacy of ceasefire and peace talks on both sides. Fair, inclusive peace process able to turn enemies into friends. And vital part of this therapy must be peace education, truth-telling, creative thinking about the future. We must reject the future of endless war in Ukraine, becoming permanent world war, planned and financed by militaries of rival empires and their corrupted allied nations. Civil disobedience is powerful. Civil disobedience is powerful as this rain, which will cleanse our land, and I hope peace will come. Ukrainian army denied people of right to conscientious objection to military service. Borders were closed to all men to prevent escape from military serfdom, but people found numerous ways to avoid certain death in mid-grinder, and few of them even dared to refuse to kill openly, defending their rights in courts, their right to refuse to kill, overcoming fear and hostility among lawyers and judges. Courage of war resistors is stunning and effective. Now, when governments more and more openly rob people of welfare for the sake of endless war, more and more people will say enough. Stop the war. Stop all wars for the God's sake. You know how to do it, and you must do it, not pretend you have no choice. When people around the world found themselves in the dead corner of militarism, they will reject deceptive war-sustaining myths and motivations, and people's rejection of war and understanding of peace will come as powerful as this rain. People will understand that you could not live peacefully in slavery of monster of military-industrial complex, and they will seek the exit from the dead corner of militarism, peace by peaceful means. That's why I hope for big changes towards non-violent economy and politics. Tragic boom of militarism will come to a painful bust, and we must be prepared for this moment, not only to minimize and mitigate pains, but to prevent re-emergence of the militarist bubble. Because any kind of war is wrong and preventable. Defensiveness and inevitability of war are no more than empty words. We must admit the truth. War is a crime against humanity. Therefore, no war should be supported. And we must work tirelessly to get rid of all causes of war. Stop killing, start talking. Stop the war together. Build the future without wars together. Let's take it rain challenge, okay? Rain challenge for peace. Peace to you. Greetings to Peace Wave. Let's hope for peace in the world. Peace by peaceful means. And also support Object War campaign, support Vienna appeal for peace in Ukraine.
Wonderful, Wonderful, Yuri. Under the rain, he did not join us in person because he was afraid that there would be technical challenges, and that's why he sent us a video. But while he was recording the video, he had a meteorological challenge. So there we are. Wonderful, Yuri. Daniele, I think we next have another person who is, I shall introduce her, Asia Gageva, who was awarded the Peace Prize from the IPB together with Yuri, if I'm not mistaken. Asia, are you there? Yes, yes. Asia, you're Russian, aren't you? But you live in Kazakhstan? Am I correct? Good. The floor is yours.
Hi, do you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you for invitation. Yeah, now I'm in Kazakhstan, and we have a group of activists and young people here. So this group, this is a group of caring and active young people who were excited to take part in such a global peace event in Peace Week. And these are participants from Russia and from Kazakhstan. This is young people who want to live under a peaceful sky, grow up, work, study, develop in a safe world, which stays safe because of global cooperation, not because of militarization. And we made a small video. This video is a message of love, message of peace, and support to all activists from all over the world, and for caring people, because their activity, the activity of bleeding hearts, their actions, that is one of the main ways to heal the world.
There's a place in your heart, and I know that it is love.
In this place, it was brighter than tomorrow. And if you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you feel there's no heart or sorrow.
There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living.
Make a little space, make a better place.
Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race.
There are people dying. If you care enough for living, make a better place for you and for me.
If you want to know why, there is love that cannot lie.
Love is strong, it only cares for joyful giving. If we try, we shall see. In this place we cannot feel. Fear or dread, stop existing and start living.
The need, feel that always love's enough for us growing.
Make a better world. Make a better world.
For the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race. There are people dying. If you care enough for the living, make a better place for you and for me.
Wonderful. You know, we needed something positive. Thank you, Asia. Thank you very much, Asia. Thank you. We should come and visit you, but we will come and visit you. This is a true internationalist grouping, and that's what peace has got to be all about. Down with borders, down with nationalities, down with national enmities, and so on. Next, someone said, brava, amazing, viva. Well, that's a good chat for you. We now have, I don't know where he is though, He's supposed to be here. It's Milan Sekulovic. Milan, are you there? Milan? There's Milan. I can see him. Unmute yourself, Milan.
Hi, guys. We have a company. We are right now in Sinjavina, and we have some nice flags.
Good for you.
We must show that. And today with me is my colleague Persida. She's a young activist, and we fight for our mountain because NATO want to build here a military range and probably base or something. And we are not for that. We want nature and peace. And with us is also today our guest from United States, Tim Pulta, and he's a veteran, and he coming from Veterans Global Organization, Veterans for Peace, right, Tim? So we will spread our time between each other. So maybe I have one song, and because we are in the mountain, can you, Lisa, please play that song that is a traditional Montenegrin song?
I don't think that we can play it for you. Can you play it there and we can listen it?
It's
I'm not
it's
sure.
No, we cannot. But okay, we have that small problem. But let's introduce ourselves. Maybe that is the better option. So we are from Montenegro. That is a small country in Europe on the Balkans, and we are a small nation, just 600,000 people in the whole country, and we have one place, the biggest mountain in the Montenegro, and it's called Sinjavina. But 5 years ago, our government, after our country joined the NATO, they decide to establish a military training ground here on our mountain and take our homes and our land. And we say no for that, and we organize many protests, and we submit the global petition with World Beyond War and ask our government and to cancel the decision about military training ground. And our fight is not easy, but with the time we learn how to enjoy in this fight, because we don't fight just for us, for some our private interest. We fight for something what is bigger than we. We fight for to preserve our mountain and our land, to preserve our way of life, and to preserve our homes. And we think in the world in 21st century, the war is not an option for anything and for anybody. We think we must push our energy to build the peace, not to build the new military training grounds and new military bases, because the military don't fight basically for peace. They fight for something else. And it was funny, but in one moment our government trying to sell the story how military training ground and NATO base on Sinjavina will not harm our nature at all, and they say that's going to be good for our community. But I don't see how that can be good for our community, because they put the bombs in the area of life, and that bombs have so many chemicals, and only purpose of that weapon is to kill, not to create new life. But here every day we see how life growing, and everywhere around us today we have healthy herbals, and we have healthy people, and we have healthy animals and healthy water, healthy ground, and we want to preserve that on that way. and that is our reason to be the part of the world who fight for peace, because we want to peace in our country, in our mountain, but also in the whole world. So that is it for me. So Persida, maybe she's a young women leader from our community, and she can say something about our movement. Persida.
Hello, everyone. Maybe as you can see, we are on the mountain right now. We are making the final preparations for the educational camp next week. We're going to have around 50 people from Montenegro and abroad, and it will be some sort of educational camp to tell people how our mountain looks, what the life here looks, how the centuries-old tradition of the shepherds help preserve this mountain. Also, we'll tell people more about all the healthy plants, and it will just show the people and familiarize them with this mountain, because it is not at all so popular among people. So we want to kind of attract more support for this mountain in that way. Yeah, and maybe that's it for me for now. Maybe Tim can say some more while he's here.
Hi, my name's Tim. I'm originally from the United States and currently live in Spain. I want to thank World Beyond War. I'm here representing World Beyond War and also representing the Veterans Global Peace Network. Both are present here to support Sinjajevina in resisting NATO trying to encroach upon their mountain and take it not only illegally, but without asking permission. Those of us who have served in the military and many of us believe that war is now an outdated mode of action and is obsolete. And we're working to try to convince NATO to back off and that someday the world won't want them. The being here with two people who are incredibly hardworking, just trying to keep up with them in the past couple of days, preparing for this celebration, has been a good insight into how hard they've worked to resist NATO twice trying to come onto their land here. And I congratulate them, and I'm very happy to be supporting their efforts, as is World Beyond War and the Veterans Global Peace Network.
Thank you. That's fantastic, Tim, and fantastic of you to get there in time to be on the global peace wave, because that way we can keep on going. Absolutely. We've got to kick war out of history. It no longer belongs in history. And we've got to preserve places like the ones you have just shown us in Sinjajevina, free of militarization, free of war, and spread that to the rest of the world. I really think your message is a fantastic one. And this leads me to a person who is, I think, our final planned speaker. We might have something else at the end just to close up beautifully. But Nicoletta Dentico is an old friend of ours who's been active on a million campaigns with me. I'm older than she is, but she's been around almost as long as I have. And the campaigns that she's worked on have all been the campaigns that now allow us to build a broader and broader peace and disarmament movement, and a movement nowadays that is so diverse, but it's got to take on a more holistic aspect. And Nicoletta is one of the first signatories of a new appeal launched by another old friend of mine and ours, I'm sure, Vandana Shiva. And so Nicoletta is now going to tell us about the new ecofeminist manifesto, Make Peace with the Earth, because that is what our real task is if we want to survive. Nicoletta.
Thank you, Lisa, and hi, everyone. I'm so thrilled and humbled at being here and so happy really that you, have thought of us and of this ecofeminist manifesto to conclude this wonderful presence of peace activism throughout the world. And yes, I think we have to kick out war from history. Making peace with the earth is the harvest of a week of intense activities of diverse women for diversity. It's a group that was created in 1996 during the UN Food Summit in Rome. And Diverse Women for Diversity wants to bring an ecofeminist angle to the issue of war. We decided to meet at the end of February, precisely at the year anniversary of this horrifying war in Ukraine. And what I will do in the few minutes that I have is actually to quote some of the sentences which I think best represent and convey the message of this group of women coming from all over the world, which managed to meet with 200 women from all over India, women that are seed savers, that are women that are really caring for nature, for the earth. And as we know, violence against the earth, against women and indigenous people have been the dominant trend in our times. A separatist mind of powerful and competitive men assuming superiority perceives humans as at war with each other and with nature. The capitalist paradigm of science, technology, and economy has created a permanent war against the earth, her biodiversity, her diverse cultures. I'm reading again. Colonialism, mechanicistic science, and industrialism have separated us in our minds from nature and the earth. We have become blind to our interconnectedness among ourselves and with our species, and our dependence on them in all their diversity. We are rushing to extinction in anthropocentric arrogance, destroying the conditions of life on Earth. Of all these dynamics, of course, militarized wars, I mean, the ones that we see, the fire of the wars are just at the tip of the iceberg. Now, of course, as we have seen it, as we have debated in Dehradun at the Earth University that Vandana Shiva created a long time ago, with our feminist perspective, what we came to the conclusion is that gender equality is not only a fundamental human right, but it is also a necessary foundation for a peaceful, prosperous, and sustainable world. Peace and the security of nations are powerfully linked with the equality of women. Researchers found that the degree of equality of women within countries can predict best how peaceful and conflict-ridden these countries are. And similarly, of course, democracies with a higher level of women's equality are more stable and more likely to choose diplomacy rather than aggression to resolve conflicts. The evolutionary role of women in shaping a world where justice, health, sharing, harmony, and social equality prevail over individualistic action and short-term profits must be reflected globally in governmental and policy-making bodies as a matter of priority. Peace with the earth begins with cultivating non-violent ways of knowing and living, of listening to nature and learning from species that have been here long before us. Non-violent economies are based on recognizing and respecting the creative contributions by the earth, women, by indigenous cultures, by farmers and workers. And my final paragraph from these fantastic manifestos is that a shift from violence to non-violence has become a survival imperative. It is also an ethical and ecological imperative. That is why it's so important to be connected with all of you dealing with disarmament, dealing with war and peace issues. War is and peace are issues that have an ethical and ecological dimension. The world of non-violence does not mean just the absence of war, but there is a completely new way of living in harmony with each other, with all the creation, with Mother Earth and the universe, and also a completely new way of dealing with the conflicts that are in us and among us. Gandhi wrote, the principle of non-violence necessitates complete abstention from exploitation of any form. And if we're able to live together without exploitation of the earth and its resources, because wars are always related to the exploitation of resources, if we are able to live together without exploitation of each other, peace and harmony will prevail in the world, and we will be able together to make war out of history. Thank you all very much. Thank you all.
Thank you, Nicoletta, and thank you, Vandana, and all our dear friends who worked so hard on this. This is the future. And it's not just the future for women, it's the future for men as well. They must listen to us and to our thinking a little bit more. Sorry, you've muted yourself. Sorry, what? You're muted, Nicoletta. Unmute yourself, otherwise I can't hear you. There, now I can hear you. Speak
yes,
up.
It's for everyone, of course. It's for everyone. It's for everyone.
Yes.
It's not for women. It's for everyone.
Of course. We also know that I saw the statistics which I gave at a talk where I was talking about peace and women making peace, that when women are involved in negotiations and mediation for the end of the war, success is something like 60% more higher than it is when women are not involved. Success of peace negotiations and so on. Well, we've come more or less to the end of the segment that Europe for Peace was asked to coordinate. And I know that we've been a little bit Italian heavy, and I apologize for that, but we have been pretty active in this country. And I thought we could close with the video that we opened with, because it really was a video that was very important. Francesco, would you like to say a couple of words to close? We know that after the video, we're going to hear from Sean and David, who are going to close the entire 24 hours. But maybe, Francesco, you have something to add now? You've taken yourself off.
No. You've done amazing work. Thank you, Lisa, for coordinating this section. You know, it was very interesting to go all over Europe and beyond.
And beyond, exactly. And the previous 24 hours, I followed some of the things in the previous 24 hours. And what is fantastic about the world and the world of peace and the 24-hour global peace wave is how diverse and how diversity enriches each part. Each part gains something from the knowledge of the other. So welcome to the final Europe for Peace video, which I hope you'll enjoy. Many of you weren't here at the beginning, so you will be able to see it now. And then the floor to Sean and David.
Can I take a walk with no destination? Can I wander aimlessly? Can I wander aimlessly? Besides the world spinning, could I have my straying? Could I have my straying? Could I have my straying?
There you are. There you are, Sean.
Yes, yep, I'm here. So thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Francesco, and thank you, everyone who has participated in these past 2 hours, and indeed in the past 24 hours worth of actions in this 24-hour peace wave that we are now coming to the end in. It's been really an incredible 24-hour period here, and of course, I was asleep for a part in the middle, but I'm really looking forward to going back and watching it. As I think most everyone knows who's participated, the entire 24 hours has been recorded and has been live streamed, so you can find it on the International Peace Bureau and World Beyond War social media pages, but we will also be sharing the video of the recordings after those have been processed here as well. So you can go back and watch the different parts you were unable to experience live. I know I will be doing that over this coming week for sure. But really, again, just to show the strength and the potential of the global peace movement that we have and that we've been working with throughout months to put this event together is inspiring for us all. And I hope each and every participant here has also taken inspiration from the various activists the world over who are calling out for peace, whether it be talking about the war in Ukraine, whether it be talking about Manipur in Northeast India, whether it be talking about conflicts and influence in Latin America and beyond. There is so much that we are doing, and our struggles really are all interconnected. So I think we are taking away from the second 24-hour peace wave many lessons and many more connections that we can continue to foster over the coming year to push peace forward on the agenda on a global level and in our specific contexts. With that being said, we'll see if there is another peace wave on the horizon that we will be looking forward to. I don't want to say too much now about that, but certainly discussions will be held. So keep looking out for any information on this and future peace wave efforts. And again, just many thanks to really all the dedicated activists from around the world that have made this event now for 2 years in a row possible. We owe so much to you, and yeah, just a lot of thanks. And of course, thank you as well to World Beyond War and David, who I'll give the closing word to now. Thanks.
Thank you, Sean, and thank you to International Peace Bureau and Emily and Michelle and Theo and everyone for your leadership and work on this. I've seen great hours and hours worth over the past 24 hours, but missed hours and hours that I have to go watch, as I imagine many of you do, and I hope to make some highlight videos, but that will be very difficult to pick out the highlights. I think the best thing about this is the global community, that we are a community without borders. We don't know or care where everybody's from, but we are working together. And part of that is the inspiration, I think, that the places with less activism are able to get from the places with more activism going on. I want to mention that while we've been doing this, in the news has been the fact that they are already admitting to their lies about the cluster bombs being sent to Ukraine. And I think the lesson from that is not to damage a perfectly good war with the wrong kind of weapon, but that it's all lies. It's all lies. It's that the reckless deadliness of this weapon is the same as the reckless deadliness of all of the weapons and the whole entire agenda. And we're taking that message in 2 weeks to Joe Biden's hometown. Those of you in this corner of the world, check out WorldBeyondWar.org/Scranton. And we're beginning to talk not just about possible future peace waves, but about NATO bringing its horrible agenda to Washington, D.C. near me 1 year from today. And I invite everyone to be there and prevent that meeting and protest that meeting and change the world if NATO is still around 1 year from today. Thank you to everyone. Wonderful job. Let's keep the peace wave going.